Good morning, everybody. It's Javier, and I'm super excited to be with you here this holiday weekend. I know it's a holiday, but you know what? At the end of the day, our bills don't take a holiday, so it's important that we sharpen our saw, regardless of what day of the year it might be, holiday or no holiday. We're here, so I commend all of you that are here live in person here on Zoom to be able to cash in on some of the ideas that I'm going to share with you to help you do that. We're going to start by firing up the PowerPoint and also making sure you understand what it is that we have going on today in FFS and within our great team as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to talk about converting a term policy into an IUL, and it's something that's picking up steam to never before, and that's due to a couple of different reasons, and I'll cover some of them here in just 1 second, but I want you to understand what you can do and most importantly, what you can no longer do. Things have changed from just a few years ago, and there's a lot of people that are sometimes under the impression that what we used to be able to do yesterday, we can still do today, and that's just simply not true. So I want you to make sure you understand that as we go on. We're going to start, as always, with our first things first, so bear with me. And let me just have this catch up with it. Perfect. Here we go. And so, again, we're going to start with first things first. I want to just wish everybody a happy 4th of July. This is holiday weekend, time to spend with hopefully friends and family. But at the end of the day, to always be in marketing mode, if you would, so you can grow your business, help people, and in the process, of course, help yourself by increasing your overall success here at First Financial Security. So even though it's a holiday, people ask me all the time, is there going to be a webinar? It's the 4th of July, or it's this holiday or that holiday. And I always ask them, is there bills coming in this month or next month? And the answer is yes. So we want to go ahead and make sure that, invest 30, 45 minutes of our time to not lose, take our eye off the ball. I think it's time well spent. And once this is over, you can go back to partying. Hopefully nobody goes out there and drinks or drives or does anything stupid, that ends up getting you or somebody else hurt. So just have fun, have all the fun that you want, but just please stay safe. We need you to be around for a much longer amount of time. Also, I just want to take a moment to congratulate our top personal producers during the month of June 2022. We've got a few people here that I'm extremely proud of, so I want to just go ahead and take a moment to recognize them. Number 3, during the month of June, personal producer with Mr. Alan Guerra. So congratulations to Alan on being number 3 personal producer. Number 2 is Andy Bayonne, and Andy is a downline of Alan. So that's pretty cool when you start to see some of your teammates not just make the board, but actually being above you. It just proves once again that anybody that comes in here and really pours it on can succeed. So congratulations to Andy. And our number 1 personal producer for the month of June 2022 is Kathy DeRugar. So I just want to take a moment to say congratulations, Kathy. Congratulations on a job well done. Kathy, anything you want to say? This is your moment, so please, anything?
Oh, I just want to say thank you for the recognition, but I mean,
I know, it's just a sound effect. Go ahead.
The business is out there, so you just have to go and try to find it. I've been doing just what I did before the pandemic, and unfortunately it was a little bit harder, but really getting into the clients at the gym again. That's really one of the places I find a lot of my clients, because there's all walks of life there. So talk to people. Don't be afraid. I think you say this all the time. If you don't like talking to people, this is not the business for you to be in. So you just have to get to know people. And then you don't want to just right off the bat try to sell them. You want to kind of, build some rapport, and over time ask them what they do for a living, if they're interested in having, their financial checkup, and go from there. And then the Patrick appointments, they do work. I know a lot of people say they don't, but you just have to know how to run online appointments. You have to. It might take 3 to 4 appointments before you can actually take an application, but like I said, the business is definitely out there.
Perfect. Thank you. And like I said, I mean, I can agree with you more. One of the principles that I learned over 20 years ago that helped change my life and my business was something that was taught to me that's called friendship farming, turning strangers into friends. I'll never forget the speech that I used to listen to over and over and over. And there are points and times in our life where we need to do that, where we need to convert, like you said, strangers and turn them into friends. And there's an art to that. Thankfully, there's about 5 million books written on the subject. So if you really want to know, Google it, go to Amazon and find the books there. and study it and apply it. So congratulations, Kathy, on a job well done, number one personal producer. And I don't know if Alan or Andy are on. Either of you guys on by any chance? Please.
Right here.
Oh, Alan, go ahead, sir. Congratulations, you're number 3, and congratulations on Andy being number 2. But go ahead, sir. Anything you want to say?
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the help. I do want to congratulate Andy. He's one of my newest agents, and he's an active pastor, young man, that is very interested in helping people protect people's families and their hard-earned money. And he's slowly and steadily been moving forward and gaining confidence. And so very happy to see him as the number 2 producer. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Congratulations to you. I don't know if Andy's on or not. Andy, are you on? If not, on behalf of every member of the team, congratulations to you. And not just being a new member of the team, but placing number 2. Keep up the good work. And thank you for all that you do. So congratulations. I also want to remind everybody that showed interest in the Kaizen campaign. It's alive. It's alive and well. I remind you that every Friday, we have the Kaizen training. I don't put it on. NIW, who runs Kaizen, is the one that puts it on. And it's literally every single Friday. You have to join their list. All of you that are in that know how to do that. So hopefully you're attending the webinars every single Friday. We're working on, we got 2 people that are about to cross the finish line on the whole Kaizen concept. We have a $500 bonus that I'm paying out of my pocket for the first person to cross the finish line. And I made it clear to everybody that I'm in the race too. So if I cross the finish line first, my wife takes my money. And so I want to make sure that everybody that's serious about this is out there doing their thing. Also, I get a lot of questions about the employee retention tax credit. It's still alive. Employers are still getting big checks. The average refund is over $180,000 right now. And I was actually at a pool supply store. I went to the pool supply to get a part for something for my pool. And I heard the owner, older gentleman, was just whining and complaining about the government, this and that. And I go, well, I got a question. I've never met him before, and I just stuck to the script. Are you familiar at all with the ERTC credit, which is the employee retention tax credit, especially if you kept your business afloat during the pandemic, the last quarter of 2020 and into 2021? And so he's like, yeah, but I don't like that stuff because they're going to want something in return. And I go, well, what if it was just simply nothing more, nothing less than an actual refund? That's literally what it is, of the taxes you paid already. And so anyways, he went from cold to how can I get more information right now? And I was on my way actually to the airport right after that, so I didn't get a chance, but I sent it in. And there you go. That's all it takes for you to just simply say something. Kathy said it best. If you're not into talking to people, you're not going to do well in anything, to be honest with you. That revolves around sales. So work on yourself so you can do that. Anyways, we have a live training and luncheon this coming Friday. It's in Hacienda Heights. Seating, and listen to this part, seating is extremely limited. We actually have a CPA coming down from Idaho that's going to be conducting the class. It's short. It's from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then we end it with lunch. Now, the CPA is bringing in lunch. I don't know how or where the hell he's going to bring it in from Idaho. But the point of it is that they are here for a much bigger event that weekend. And they're offering to kind of compress the entire weekend to 2 hours for just members of our team. That's it. Nobody else. It's in Hacienda Heights, and it's this Friday. So if you know anybody, and if you don't know anybody that owns a business, walk into a restaurant, and guess what? Somebody owns that place, and they probably are owed a couple $100,000 because restaurants do the best. And it's amazing how when you're well-versed, you can be more productive. So your success is your responsibility. So if you want to come and be part of this, it's this Friday, July the 8th, 10 a.m. in Hacienda Heights out to 60. I've had several people ask me about the Zoom, and the answer is no way. Zoom sucks when it comes to do a live workshop and then having to move the camera around or move the laptop to I can't see it, I can't hear it, I lost connection. If you really want to know, get your butt in your car, make it here in person. It's going to be worth your time. That's all I can say about that. So if you are interested, again, it's a very small room. It's not a massive type of event. Go ahead and scan this code. As always, don't come to me during the week. What's the link? Can you register me? No, I can't. And the link, you got to go to our YouTube channel and view it there and scan it there. So anyways, go ahead and do that. Having said that, I'm very excited to also announce to you that we're going to go ahead and roll out a template for those that want to increase their expertise in the field of, excuse me, life insurance, annuities, or whatever you want to do it. The best way that I know how to do that is by leveraging the power of podcasts. And so I can tell you that I've built teams in many, many different industries. And right now I'm coming off of a 6-year high with the mortgage team that I built, which is was a very productive team. But where interest rates are at, which I knew was going to happen, we're shifting. We're shifting to other industries and FFS for the simple fact that if you know anybody that's a realtor, loan officer, and so on, they're going to be in a position to look for income from somewhere else as they try to get that business going as well. Mine's is going to kick off. I'm not going to give you the link yet, but it's part of a very comprehensive approach. And it's just simply called the Life Insurance Sales Academy podcast. And it's pretty cool. Most of it, if not all of it, is done. We've got the material, we've got everything. I don't think I can share the, let me see if I can share this with you, because I don't think it'll play, but maybe somebody can tell me if you do hear it. Let me just see if I can pull this up on the screen. I know you can't see, or you can see all that stuff. Let me go back over here. Hold on. There we go. So let me just go see if it's here somewhere, and maybe you can hear it. We're redoing, and just so you know, everything that I'm sharing with you right now, I'm sharing it with you because what we're going to do and what we are doing is we're going to go ahead and make it template based so that if you want to get any of this stuff with your own information in it, you can do that. We are going to be going into some very good recruiting times, very bad financial times, but nevertheless, very, very good recruiting opportunities. Now, I don't know if it'll play, so bear with me.
Welcome to the Life Insurance Sales and Marketing Ideas Podcast, helping life insurance agents elevate their level of self-confidence, sales, income, and overall success in the life insurance industry. Here is your host and life insurance marketing expert, Javier Rodriguez.
Now, I don't know if that came out over the set. Did it? Did you hear anything?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so it's part of a script. You're going to be able to go to the same person, get your own intro with your name done, and so on and so on and so on. And so every episode is going to be able to be duplicated. Now, you're going to have to come up with a different name, of course. But the point that I'm making is that when you become a quote expert in any field, people are going to want to work with you. And so that's why it's very important to do that. I did that, like I said, in the mortgage world. And to this day, I can't stop people from calling me on that side of the house just from putting out videos and different marketing materials and training materials and so on. You become an expert. I believe in the best way to go out there and get sales is don't go after sales, go after helping people. And people will see you for what you are, and they're going to want to be a part of your organization as well. So let's get into the converting a term policy into an IUL. It's a very short training. And the reason it's so short is because we want to get you back to your holiday weekend and so on, but there's not a lot to know. Well, first of all, question for you. Why even convert a policy into an IUL? Why? Why? Anybody? This is the part where you will meet yourself.
Give them something permanent, especially if they're aging.
Perfect. Okay, so they're getting older. They want something permanent because their term insurance is going to expire. Perfect. What else? Somebody else. Another reason.
Same dollar can provide multiple benefits.
Perfect. That's another great one. Absolutely. What else? Please.
If their health has changed, they'll honor their health. But
That's a very, 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 very big one right there. If their health has changed, I'm in the process of doing this for my own personal sake, because as you guys know, I had a little issue that now I'm deemed uninsurable. And so the musical chairs, it's kind of like what I would tell people in life. Your health is like musical chairs. You're walking around the chairs round and round and round, and and one day something happens to you and you're uninsurable. That's when the music stops, and where you are is where you're going to remain. That's it. And that happened to me. And I never thought it would happen at this age, but it happened. Now, thankfully, I do have multiple permanent policies, and I also have a ton of term policies that I'm in the process of converting, if you would, to be able to go ahead and make sure that first of all, I'm taken care of because of the living benefits, and my wife, which is the biggest reason I do all this. And then comes the family way after that, because I want to make sure that she's taken care of. They have time on their side, my wife does not. And so therefore, it's important for you to have heart-to-heart conversations with people as it relates to things like this. And so anybody else, any other reasons? And the reason I ask you is because I can gauge who does well and who's not going to do well by how many times they answer, for the simple fact that if you can't come up with a reason now, you sure as hell not going to come up with a reason for a potential client, and you'll never convert a single term policy. That's just the reality of it. I don't like to waste people's time. But anybody else? All great answers by everybody, but you sometimes got to use the old noodle and smack yourself around if you have to. But, you know, there's great power in trying. There's great power in just trying. Any other ideas? Any thoughts from anybody regarding why convert? Anybody?
Well, I think it can help the client understand, what he can do for his circle, for his family.
Sure. Here's another. How about an old term policy that didn't come with the living benefits of today's IULs? I mean, that alone will help you sell somebody on a conversion as well. And so the reason that this is important, I'm going to talk about just one carrier, which is National Life Group. I'm not going to talk about all the other carriers because there's just a lot of them, but it's basically the same thing. And one thing that's very important to know, does anybody know what jump in, term out means? Does anybody know what it is? Jump? Anybody?
Yeah, that's when you can convert, or if they have a term policy that's on the list that the carrier has, that the carrier will automatically let them switch it over to an IUL without insurability.
That's really, really good. So National Life Group had a list of companies, life insurance companies, that if they had a whatever term policy with whatever company that was on the list, they would allow them to convert the the term to an IUL. That program has ended. That program is no longer alive. And I spoke with a few people not too long ago. They were asking me about that, how it works. And I was telling them it's no longer here. I thought it was a great program because they did not have to prove their insurability. And it just literally allowed us to run around. And just like, Primerica loves to turn a lot of the permanent policies to term, we turn a lot of the terms to IULs because obviously it's a lot better. But that program has ended. Now, when people ask me, how do I know who I can help convert? As always, start with your clients. I have sold a ton of term here at FFS because for a lot of people, whether it be their budget, whether it be the amount of life insurance that they need, they get a lot more usually with term than with IULs and so on. We have a book of business, which is the whole purpose of doing that. And so what you see here on the screen, you kind of see my National Life Group book of business, where I can literally come in here and let me just move this out of the screen so I can see it because I can't see it. Anyways, and so as you can see here, that's what it shows me that as it relates. And so you just simply scroll down and you see what kind of business they actually have with you. And so you just simply go around and lo and behold, there's my first term policy right there. It's a newer one, but the point of it is that you can come in here and look at your book of business, whether it be through FFS or through National Life Group, and identify them. Another thing you can do is also work with your team. And so what I mean by that is log into their NLG portal and do this. And then you can just line it up by type. Literally just click on the typed green arrows and it'll line it up by. So whatever carrier you're working with, the beauty behind it is that it's going to be able to be found right there. Now, other people, nobody else has really even hit this yet. And another reason that you might want to consider doing that is because it'll bring the client more value, number one. But let me ask you a question. What happens to your commissions after year one with the term policy?
You don't have any, but you get a new what do you call it, commission when you write the IUL. It's like a new sale.
It's like a new sale, number one. But first of all, more value to the client. That's the most important thing. It has to be right for them, which in most cases it is, because whatever they wanted to protect for 10, 20, 30 years, they probably want to protect for life. That's just the way it is. But the IUL also provides you with renewals. And that's something that term does not do. Now, how long are your renewals for on the IULs? How long do they pay? Somebody else. Come on, guys.
I think, well, isn't it as long as they're enforced, you get renewals?
Yeah, and the answer is you're right. It's going to be for life. Now, the only exception, of course, depends on if you're the servicing agent. If you are, let's just say, you write up an IUL and you quit, or you don't renew your license, the first 10 years, you'll still get paid the first 10 years. But after that, it could be switched to somebody else that has to service the policy, which only makes sense. But if you keep your license, then obviously you get it for life. And so the reason I share this with you is you can see here this past Tuesday, I think this was, which is June 28th. And this is my commission statement for the week. Well, not even for the week, for the day, because we get paid on Tuesdays and Fridays, even though Fridays are usually cheesy. But anyways, the point of it is that this Tuesday, you can see there. And so this is my commission statement for that one day, which is that Tuesday. And if you look, there's 632 records or 632 lines of commissions from one single day out of 8 pay days in a month. It's just one. And the point that I'm looking at, you will see everything, anything and everything from, $150, $90, $11. I mean, I don't care if it's $1. I'll take it. And especially when you don't have that many things out there that will pay us from what we did yesterday, let alone last year. Now, if you look at that, this is just one day, Tuesday. If you fast forward, it shows you every single thing, what percentage paid out, and everything else. So as you can see, there's one term policy right there, and so on. But the point that I'm making here, this goes back, if I fast forward here, if you look at the top of the line, for this past Tuesday only, the oldest policy that I got paid for was for one that was written in June of 2007. Oh, shit. No, sorry. That's it. Yeah, to 2007. That's right. Which is whatever the hell it is. What is it? 15 years? 15 years ago. I mean, that's not bad. And it's still $150 gross commission premium. Not bad for, I mean, how many people still get a check from their job where they were working from 15 years ago? Not for still being there for 15 years ago, but I mean, for something you did 15 years ago. Not that many places. And that's the power of you not just learning, elevating your level of self-confidence, but understanding that we're bringing value. So to me, I'm not bragging about the money. I'm bragging about the fact that these good people have kept their policies all these years because they see the value in it. Retirement, kids, college, living benefits, death benefits, and so on. And so you need to understand that right there. So look at that right there with the red arrow. And it shows from June 11th of 2007. And if you look right below that, there's July 07, October, November, December of 07. And that's just from one single day, which is this past Tuesday. I mean, it's just incredible. We can only picture the month, let alone the year. And then guess what? Next year, it's going to be all of this stuff here, plus all the new stuff that's coming in as well. So I'm not trying to impress you or anything like, there's nothing to impress you with, but I want to impress upon you the importance of understanding how much more benefit people get from a permanent product when it suits their needs versus a term. And here's what you need to remember, write down, take a picture, whatever, because I'm not going to give any handouts today, because this is the last slide of our training this morning before we open it up to questions. And that is that the way it works with National Life Group, if somebody has a 30-year term policy, they can convert it within the first 20 years. If they have a 20-year term policy, again, with National Life Group, they can convert it during the first 15 years. If they have a 15-year term, they can convert it within the first 12 years. And if they have a 10-year term, well, they can do it throughout the entire 10 years. Now, there are some exceptions. And anybody know, okay, can you imagine what might be some of these exceptions? Now, here's the question. If somebody has, go ahead.
I just said age when they get it.
That, but let me ask you another question, Anthony. Let's just say somebody has a 30-year policy and you call them up saying, hey, man, you want to convert it? And it turns out they're in their 21st year. Can they still convert it, Anthony?
According to this, no.
Okay. Now, to be more precise, which I did not do this, so that's why you said that, so it's my fault. What this refers to in regards to conversion, it refers to conversions with
Insurable.
no medical exam.
Right, insurability.
Does that make sense? So if you have somebody who has a 30-year policy and they want to get an IUL and they do it within year 1 through 19, they can do so, but there's a couple of things to keep in mind. There's no medical required whatsoever, which is guaranteed insurability is what it's referred to. But you have to understand a couple of things. Number one, the face amount cannot be more than the term policy, which is usually never the case because IULs have smaller face amounts. So if they have a $200,000 term policy and they want to get an IUL within the first 20 years, they don't have to prove insurability. But if they want to get it for $500,000, they will. So going back to what you were saying, Anthony, if he's in year number 21, no, he does not qualify for the no medical exam, but he can apply and just go through the regular process. Does that make sense, Anthony? I think it was Anthony.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
In that case, really, it's basically just a conversion period. I mean, he's just, hey, I got a term policy and I want an IUL policy, and he goes through the normal channels. You got to do his medical and whatever. But
yes, and to be honest with you, there are going to be some instances that I would say if somebody really wants to go a maximum funded IUL, just get it the right way. Just apply from scratch, but don't let go of the old one until you deliver the new policy. Number one, but the reality of it is that there are people who know that they have certain medical conditions like me already. So once you're uninsurable, you're screwed. And so that's the time for you to bring value to your clients and let them know, why don't you consider converting it, blah, blah, blah. Now, the second one is to be proactive. I know a lot of people who get term policies because they have a young family, they're barely starting out in life, but 5, 6, 7 years later, guess what? They're in their prime earning years. It's a completely different scenario. Now they want to start saving more for retirement. Now they want to start saving more for college or whatever the case might be. And that's where this comes in. And so what's another way do you think that somebody can go around this? Not necessarily without the medical, but I'll give it to you right now. Another thing that somebody can do is what's called the 1035 exchange. Who can tell me what a 1035 exchange is? Anybody?
Exchange one policy for another?
No, it's where you take the amount of money, and I've done this quite a few times, and people don't realize you can even do it with term. You had a 20-year policy, and let's say you've had it for 15 years, and you paid into this policy $1,000 a year. Well, you just paid $15,000 for this policy, but you go and you convert it to a permanent policy, and you lose that $15,000 that you paid into the term policy. Well, you lose it anyway, but with a 1035 exchange, you're able to take that $15,000 and transfer that over to your whole lot, to your IUL policy. Now, why would you need to do that? Well, let's say for argument's sake, down the road, you got $30,000 of cash in your IUL, but you only put in 20 and you cash it in. You're going to pay taxes on that 10,000, but because you transferred over 15,000 from your term policy, you got 15,000 of credit towards taxes. How's that? Is that a good way?
Yeah, no, it's good. And also the main thing that 1035 exchanges exist for is to roll cash value from one policy to another, like you said, without having to pay the taxes. I can tell you of one police sergeant in particular, I'm not going to give his name, but he went ahead and we got him, this is like 12 years ago, we got him an IUL. He started it with like, whatever, $200 a month. He's like, and so he was the easiest sell I ever had because he said, look, listen, you don't have to give me the whole presentation. I know all about the IUL. I had one, but I lost it and I want to get another one again. So I asked him, well, how did you lose it? How the hell did you lose it on IUL? He goes, well, I switched banks. And when I did that, they just never stopped. They stopped drafting my account, I guess, or whatever the case might be. I never paid again. So I wrote up the application. This is when we were taking him still on paper. And I told him, now, before I submit this one, what I want to do is I want to look into your old policy. So if you can get on the phone with me with the old company, let's look, Transamerica, blah, blah, blah. So lo and behold, He hadn't paid in 4 years, but had $24,000 of cash value still in there, because when he disappeared on them, they just simply started to take the premium payment out of his cash value. And so his question was, what can we do? So now what I told him was, we're going to start your $200 a month IUL, but we're going to seed it with those $20,000 that you have from the old company, because the old one didn't have living benefits. The old one didn't have, I mean, it was just a very old IUL, one of the very first IULs. And so what we ended up doing was a 1035 exchange. We opened up the new IUL over here with National Life Group. We went ahead and rolled all that money from the old IUL to this one. So this one started with another 20-something thousand dollars in it, compounding right out of the gate. He just retired 2 years ago and is actually ahead of what we projected for him 12, 13 years ago, because of how much money was in there when we seeded it. And that's the beauty of a 1035 exchange. It's kind of similar to a 1031 exchange in real estate, where I sell this house or a commercial property, whatever, and I buy another one, but I don't have to pay gains or taxes on it because I'm going to roll it over to another property. It's got to be more. There's a couple of rules. So it's the same thing. And so keep your eyes and ears open, because there's a lot of people that end up in these types of situations, and you can be the person that solves their concerns and their issues and their problems and get paid in the process. There's nothing wrong with you getting paid. It's part of being a professional, and especially part of being here for them, because like I said, I'm mega old, man. I'm starting to see a lot of my clients make it into retirement already. And it's nice to see what we promised them 12, 14, 16 years ago become reality. And that's what this is about. So the only question is, are you still going to be around in the business in 5, 10, 20 years? And a lot of it has to do with how much money you're able to make and sustain yourself. Otherwise, it's going to be impossible to do that as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to you guys to see if anybody has any questions about anything before we wrap it up. So if anyone has any, go ahead, please.
Yes, a lot of questions. You just open up a can of worms with me, because I've been wanting to know a lot about this 1035 exchange, and I haven't had the time. How does the commissions work on that if you transfer things over for one?
The only way the commission, first of all, it's a brand new policy. So you get full commissions, everything's brand new. The only thing that can change that is if it's an internal one from within National Life Group or the same carrier. So there are times we do that, where we have somebody has an existing IUL, they come across, whatever, they build it up and they need a new one for whatever reason. The number one reason we were doing a lot of 1035 exchanges in the past, just so you know, is because a lot of the older IULs we were writing up with National Life Group really only came with the terminal illness rider. That's all it came with. And so all of a sudden, we started to get the critical, the chronic, and there's about 14 riders that come with new IULs today. So there was a lot of reasoning behind rolling it over. And so if you do that, the good news is that you are going to get paid on it like a brand new IUL. And you will, because remember, we get paid not on cash value, we get paid on the face amount as a life agent, because it's not a security. Then you need 663 and a bunch of other stuff, but you do get paid more when more money comes over, but it's not like a dollar for dollar type of thing. The value for you would be that usually it's going to require a much higher face amount, because now the MEC limit is going to be hit. Like this guy was doing $200 a month, and we were going to have a face amount of 300,000. All of a sudden, we're bringing 20-something thousand dollars in existing cash value. We put it into the system, because when you run an illustration, it'll ask you if it's a 1035 exchange. You say yes, you type in the amount, approximate amount, and boom, now we're at $580,000 in face amount that's going to require a bucket that big to hold all that money. So what does that do to your commission? It increases it dramatically, almost doubles it as well, just on the face amount going up by that much as well.
So it'd just be the difference in the face amount that you would get the commission on?
For the most part. There's still other ways you do get paid, but for the general rule of thumb, that's where I would leave it at. And be surprised everything you get.
And what's the time frame to do that you can do that?
The only concern, one of the big concerns with 1035s is that if you do it within the first 10 years for most IULs, they have a surrender charge period. So you're going to have to come across that, and then you're going to deal with suitability as to, because if it's on the second year, it makes no sense for them. And not only that, but they won't have a lot of money in it anyways. And so usually the time frame that I always use is 6 to 7 years and forward, because you can't justify that they're going from having one living benefit to 12. They're going from having a lower cap, like right now, caps are going to start to go up with annuities, caps are going to start to go up with IULs as well. And so real soon, you're going to see that a lot of people are going to be capping out And so it's nice to know that if they're in the 8th year, they're on their way out from the surrender charges, and you get them a new product that has a higher cap, they're going to make up for that small hit they're going to take in the long run and in the short run at that. And so it does make sense at that point.
Right. And can you downgrade like from a large IUL to like a smaller one?
The answer is yes, you can definitely do that. I'm actually doing that with one of my granddaughters, my only granddaughter right now. And so what I'm doing with her, I don't remember how it ended up, but we always put B, increasing for kids. We call it B for baby. And I don't know how the hell it ended up with A, and they ended up with like 360,000. It's too much. And so what I'm doing is they're actually in the process right now. It's a lot easier to lower it, just so you know they need to raise it, because depending on how much you raise an IUL face amount, you might have to have medical insurability certified, and then that's a whole different beast. But to downgrade it, you can reduce it at any time. The answer is yes, and up to once a year, I believe, is when you can do it.
Well, I do have a client that found out about this infinite banking, and I'm thinking he wants to downgrade or do something different, like a whole life. And I didn't even think about a 1035 exchange. It just didn't even dawn on me to do that.
Yeah, and to think of a 1035 exchange, for the lack of a better phrase, just kind of like when we do rollover of a Roth, it has to be from like to like. That's the key thing. Qualified has to go to qualified. Non-qualified has to go to non-qualified. So as long as it's a whole life, long as it's this, long as it's a non-qualified permanent policy, they can do the 1035 exchange.
Very good. One last question.
Sure.
This is about chronic injury. National Life Group has it, and what other carriers have chronic injury?
That I'm aware of, National Life Group. The only one that I know, other one, then there's more, but the only one that I personally know, and I'm going to ask for people's help, is Anaco. I know Michael Harding talks about that all the time. American National Insurance Company, Anaco.
Oh, I got another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a client that I'm writing policy at 2 p.m. She wants to do this whole infinite banking thing, and I'm trying to find how. She's in New York. That's the whole twist. She's a New Yorker, but she wants to be able to pull her money out ASAP so that she's basically wanting to do infinite banking so she can funnel the money through her policy, because she wants to buy a real estate property. She wants to put $80,000 in and take $38,000 out to be able to put as a down payment on her real estate property. So I'm told that there's, I guess, some infinite banking anywhere from 2 to 30 days you can pull the money out.
Yes, and that is true. A lot of it will have to do with exactly how it's set up, because they all have their internal guidelines and limits. And so that would require a little bit. Now, the only thing I don't like from what you said is New York. And that's the only challenge that you're going to have, because New York has this, literally, it's like a standalone country just about when it comes to the regulations of everything. So I don't like to touch it. I would just say pull up the paperwork, because New York is a beast. They have their own, I mean, it's easy. Back in the old day, all of our people would literally have New Yorkers cross the river to Jersey and just sign it on the Jersey side. But now you can't even do that. And so now it's a completely different beast. So I would just tell you, you have to pull up the document to review it. That would be the best answer.
Well, I'm just saying, like, what carriers actually allow you to? I was thinking like a paid up addition. I'm trying to think of the concept and the option that she had. And I was thinking like a paid up addition. You can put the money in. I left my refrigerator open.
Oh, no problem.
And take it out. So just wondering.
You know what? And to be more honest with you, if it's what I would recommend, if you don't have somebody, I would encourage you to, like for instance, we have, I don't know if you deal a lot with him, but with Michael Harding over at Anaco, he's really, really good at it. I don't know if you have a cell phone number. My recommendation.
Yeah, I did. I've been talking with him this morning. He's on vacation, but he didn't even bring up that. So
yeah, I wouldn't be able to. Does anybody here know anything would help her the most? I don't want to give bad info. Good luck. I can't get people to talk here all the time. So
Well, Javier.
Go ahead, Kathy.
Well, I mean, infinite banking, that's a concept, the whole life concept that other companies do. So I'm just not sure if, she's talking about another carrier that she has this with, but with her IUL, I mean, if she's got money in there, she can pull it out as long as it doesn't go beyond a certain percentage. And each carrier has a different requirement. So you literally have to contact each carrier to find that out.
Yeah. And that I do know, because I'm telling you, and that's why I'm not saying that I don't want to give you any advice. I'm just simply, I always tell everybody, because it's so contract specific, especially New York, that you'd be better off just looking at it. And like I said, if it's just a straight NLG, I tell you, you can access up to 90% of the net available cash, right? Or whatever. But I don't
also make sure the carrier is in New York, because when I was contracted in New York, we were limited in what was available.
It's tough. It's tough.
Right. I mean, I'm with National Life Group and Anaco, and those are the only two pretty much that we have that are in New York that I'm aware of for.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the only ones that I'm aware of as well. All right.
Thank you.
All righty. Great. Anybody else, please?
I want to say something about what she had mentioned about the 1035 exchange. Just so you know, if you do a 1035 exchange on National Life, you can't do an e-app. So what you have to do is actually run the illustration, save it separately, run a new illustration without the 1035 exchange. So you could do the e-app, and then on your agent notes on the e-app, tell them that this is a 1035 exchange. It wouldn't allow you to do the e-app. So you've attached the actual illustration and not to honor the one that you included in the e-app. It's a little bit complicated, just so you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a different beast. Thank you. And along those lines, also, as of last week, no, 2 weeks ago with National Life Group, their system was not recognizing when you were going ahead and converting a term to an IUL. So what you would need to do, kind of what she said, makes no sense, but you would have to complete the application. It's a brand new IUL. And in the notes, do not click on the conversion option that it asks you. If it's a conversion, it doesn't work. And so you have to put in the notes saying this is going to be a conversion, blah, 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 attach all the paperwork that you have regarding the old policy, and then upload it that way. Otherwise, it will bounce back and it just goes in circles and circles and the system's not working. So I told them, why don't you just fix your problem? I think it'd be easier if you just fix the glitch versus trying to show people how to do it. That makes it a lot more difficult to do as well. Also along those lines, what I do want to just throw in there, for those that are part of my team, and the reason for I'm saying my team is compliance-wise, we got to be very careful. I'm very excited to report that this week was our best week ever with a lot of the preset appointments that we are dealing with, and those of you that are part of it know what I'm talking about. So I want to thank everybody who did their part to make this our best week ever. I'm going to bring more information as we get closer to it, but the one thing that we are doing for those that want to be part of that campaign going forward, you're going to have to get certified. Now, you can still do whatever you want to do with this certain person that I'm referring to, but if you want to be part of our Tiger group, which again, this was our best week ever, we are going to start to certify everybody and make sure that you know the basics, because we're talking about helping teachers, what we call, pension maximization strategies. So we need to make sure you know how to calculate pensions, because if you don't know how to do that, you're no good to them. And so all of you keep doing what you've been doing. I'm not messing with anybody or anything. But for those that are going to be part of this new group that we want to really double our income in the coming 6 months, by the end of the year, I want to make sure everybody here that for Jumpstart 2023 has dramatically increased their income with these preset appointments that I'm talking about. But I'm being very honest with you, you're going to have to get certified, and we're going to do that in a group one-on-one through Zoom to make sure that, like right now, if I'm a teacher, then you start the conversation with me, you need to understand the difference between CalPERS, CalSTRS. You need to learn how to log in sometimes with them and as them to show where their credits stand. You need to be able to calculate exactly how much they're going to be getting, because at the end of the day, the more you go out of your way to do that, they're going to realize how much more they're going to need an IUL or a 403B or a rollover from an existing one to another one, or whatever the case might be. But if you don't know how to do that, you're going to burn through these appointments and you're not going to like it. So we want to make sure that, again, we help everybody maximize their income efficiency. And the only way to do that is to certify everybody. And we have great trainers here on this Zoom as we speak right now. They're going to be doing that. So if you're far, you're going to have to jump in a car, a plane, a boat, or something, and make your way over here for the actual certification class. And then we're going to test everybody via Zoom. And then we're going to be recording every single appointment that is done through the system to make sure that we're doing it the same way or in similar ways to get us all the results that we seek. Any questions from anybody before I wrap it up?
Yeah. So 1035 exchange, Columbus Life, is it done the same way as National Life?
I have never dealt with Columbus myself. Kathy, I think, or George, or somebody has done Columbus. I have not. Anybody dealt with Columbus? I mean, for the most part, it's not the carriers, it's the tax rules. So they all work the same. So it's kind of like rolling a 403B, I'm sorry, 403B or a 401k into, let's just say, a simple IRA or some qualified product that no matter where you go, it's going to be the same because it's governed by the federal government, the IRS, not by the carriers themselves.
Understood. And that pension maximization strategy, are you teaching that as well?
No, those are people that are already doing it. We have people that they're already part of that campaign that have been doing it for 5-6 years. And like I said, we're not teaching that. It just takes too long. It just takes too long. We are
Okay.
just simply, we're just kind of, for the lack of a better phrase, refining the way, because right now people have kind of gotten away from the core way of doing it, and we're just trying to bring it and tighten it back up. It just takes so long. And not only, like, God forbid, you're out of state. Every state does it differently. And then God forbid you're a teacher versus, it's just a whole different beast. And we just
Understood. Thank you.
Anybody else, please?
Javier, as far as the 1035s, just so you understand, when you're doing the 1035 exchange, make sure you let the carrier know that you want them to issue the policy and not wait for the money to be transferred over. So they'll issue the policy. And then what happens is, once they finally get the money from the old carrier, then they just deposit that right into the account, and his account jumps up. The other thing is, understand this, which is pretty cool. You get, that's excess money. In other words, how we get paid up to target. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you're, if you're writing this at target, well, then you're going to get, target commissions. But anything that exceeds target, we get paid 3% on. And all that 1035 exchange money is all 3%. So you don't get 100%, but you get 3% on all that money. And that adds up. It could be some, big money. You were also talking about living benefits and all. Yes, Anico has, the living benefits, although I know you guys in California, there's some other, I think they just had to get certain things approved or whatever. But I'm pretty much sure now that you have the same exact benefits with Anico, with living benefits, than you do with, LSW. But Columbus does not, they have living benefits, but they're not as good as LSW or Anico. And I mean, I've called them out on it. I've proved it to them. And, they do it a totally different way. So if you're going to think about, selling Columbus Life, make sure you understand how their living benefits actually do work, and how they're not as good as LSW and Anico.
And that's part of the reason I've never sold one. But also keep in mind that I appreciate you being honest, because remember, the whole purpose of being on this webinar is to be very honest and upfront with each other. I don't like this whole mob mentality where we all go to this one company because it's the newest and latest and greatest. I don't like that crap. I think that we need to arm ourselves with information and make our own decisions, regardless of who or anybody wants you to submit business to. It's ultimately you that need, when you sleep at night, you want to be able to sleep well, knowing that you did what was best for the client, and not best for the company, not best for the carrier, not best for you, but for the client. And so that's why, I appreciate you sharing that with us, because there are some carriers that do some things very well, and there's others that just plain old suck. And so for me, I want to make sure that I know I'm giving my clients the best that they deserve in whatever it is that we're doing. And there will be times where between, let's just say, NLG and Anico, it's almost a toss-up. I mean, they're there, they have similar, if not same, living benefits. And it's just a matter of, where you preference, if you would. But then there are others like Columbus compared to NLG, or Columbus compared to Anico, as it relates to the value for the client, that for me, I've never written with them, and maybe I will one day. But that's why I appreciate the sincerity, and nobody has to be afraid of saying what they want to say or ask what they want to ask. I think the ultimate crime is staying quiet. Ask away, or say, you know what, I've had great experiences with this carrier, or I've had crappy ones with that carrier, and whatever the case might be. It's the sole purpose of us being here today. Well, last call for questions, comments, or concerns before we end it. And if no one has anything else, I just want to say thank you to everybody, and especially our top 3 person producers. Congratulations on a job well done. And listen to me carefully. We have to, for the next, until the end of the year, to be more precise, 5.5, almost 6 months now, a very rare window of opportunity to recruit people. There's a lot of people coming out of a lot of different industries, whether it be real estate, whether it be whatever. As a matter of fact, Meta, which is the parent company of Facebook, of course, just announced 30% of their engineers going to be let go, because they're anticipating a dramatic slowdown in advertisers, which means people don't advertise when people are not buying. And whether it be the real estate market, whether it be the mortgage market, whether it be the appraisers, whether it be a lot of different people in a lot of different industries, there are 2 types of people in those industries: those that have realized what's coming and what's here, and those that are still in denial. And that's fine. I don't go around bursting people's bubbles or raining on their parade. I'm not a naysayer. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that if you keep your eyes open and your ears open, you're going to see a lot of people looking for ways to replace income they were used to already. And what a better way to do it here. I can show somebody my commission statement, not for the dollar amount, but for the concept. Like I told you, this past Tuesday, my oldest commissions are from 2007. Where can you go and do that? Now, it takes a lot of time, effort, work. I'm not sitting here telling you, but guess what? We'll help you. There's not that many teams doing what this team puts together for you. There's not that many templates you can go and put out on the podcast. There's not that many places you can go get literally a template on an intro for your podcast, or an outro, or on a website, or a provider where the hard work has been, for the most part, done for you. Just a matter of you doing your part. And that I can't help you with, because what most people lack is will. And I hope you're not one of those people who are sitting there waiting for success that comes to their doorstep because they're just such a good person and they're so, no, it doesn't work that way. You go out there and you look for it, you work, and you earn and enjoy it. And that's what this whole thing is about. So I wish everybody a very happy 4th of July, a safe one. Please don't drink and drive. Don't go out there and do anything stupid. Don't go on vacation and come back on probation. We don't want anybody to be collecting money for their bail. I mean, we're a little too old for that. So please just go out there and have good, wholesome fun. And I look forward to seeing you next Saturday on our webinar. I'm surprised. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you definitely want to be here at that time. All right. Happy 4th of July to everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Talk to you later. Bye.